Alright, it's been a couple of days since the big reveal, and it's about a week until the new league starts, and I'm sure everyone right now is poring over the new Atlas passive tree for Ruthless, if they play Ruthless. Everyone's had a lot of big changes, but I think Ruthless has had more big changes than anyone else. Previously, Atlas strategies were pretty set in stone. You had your pick of the litter in terms of how you wanted to go about making sure you sustain maps and can reach watchstones, but now everything's changed, and the big thing, the two big things, which kind of tie into each other, are the removal of master missions and the introduction of scarabs. And the latter comes with a big conditional, and we don't know how many scarabs we're getting. There is a lot of scarab stuff on the tree, so I have to hope that that number is reasonable, but at the same time, it's all up in the air how much exactly we're going to be able to interact with mechanics via scarabs, or if basically we're going to have to start relying much more on natural spawns for masters, because no more missions. These big nodes here, which I always used to say, let's start going through these. 4% chance to get Nico missions is great. Ooh. So on and so forth. This is just 100% chance to contain Nico, and if we know the way that extra content works in Ruthless, a map has a chance to spawn extra content. Like you roll a dice, if it hits the number, you're going to get something, and then once it's got something, it's going to pick between all the available options, and all these nodes do is adjust the numbers for the available options. This doesn't mean you just get more Nico and therefore you have more mechanics in your maps. The chance to get the mechanics in your maps does change. If you play Ruthless a while, you know this. If you're new to Ruthless, this is very important, because these nodes kind of suck now. No one used to take these big fat nodes saying like 100%. You don't take those much, because the strategy you used to do is you have 10 blockable mechanics, and you block like 8 or 9 of them, and then the couple you have left you can invest in, and that's how you do things. And master missions were like a separate thing. And a really big thing as well is, like, it used to be that master missions, the idea of getting a natural master spawn was one of 11 outcomes in that matrix of, okay, we've rolled the dice, we've got an extra bit of content, now which bit of content do we get? If you procced natural master spawn, it then chose between the 4, right? So if you blocked 9 mechanics, you had one mechanic or you had natural master spawns, which meant that like there was like a pretty even chance between getting your mechanic or getting a master, and then between the masters it would be split, which was a good way to, like, let's say I want to farm heist, so you block everything else, so you get a lot of smuggler caches. The chance to get bonus content scales up with map tier, and when you get to like red maps, I was getting like a smuggler's cache one in every other map, on average, which is pretty fine, because you had that chance to get 2 mechanics instead of 1 as well. So if you got a natural master as your first mechanic, you would then be guaranteed to get your blocked mechanic as a second one. Well, this is fucked now. Why is this fucked? Because natural master spawns aren't one big thing. They are 4 separate things. They're individually part of the content pool. The really cool thing, though, is you can have more than one. You could have Alva, Nico, and Jun in the same map. Great, but you can't block them. I was really expecting I was expecting this here to become, oh, you can block the masters. No. No. The masters are way too eager to be in your maps. You can't do shit against them. So you can block. Now if I block 9 mechanics, I just want heist. Now it's like a 20% chance to get heist. And each of the masters have a 20% chance. Unless I wait it, which might be the strategy now. You might need to take your waiting nodes now if you want to. You block 9 things and then you have a 100% increased chance. But it doesn't do as much as it did before. It's you'd have to invest in a bunch of this, which is, points are valuable, especially when we need to spend a lot of our points still on things that help us sustain maps. And that's still a bum note about Ruthless for a lot of people, and I never really understand why, because even if the Atlas was, even if map sustain was a lot easier to get in Ruthless, you would still invest in maps as much as possible, because maps give you more bonus points, which gets you access to your other shit faster. Like once you get to, if you get to watchstones faster, you can start investing less in map sustain and more in other things, for instance, and that's, you know, that's just the way it works. So I think it's the big thing that's changed the thing that hasn't changed is that we still need to focus on investing in our map sustain. The big picture changes is how we do it. Because before I would say, like, you know, we'll block everything and we'll make sure we take the alva stuff, and alva temple's really good for map sustain, so we'll take all the alva stuff. Some of that's changed as well, but the inability to guarantee alva now it's going to be pretty rough. I hate these icons. What is he doing? It's going to be pretty rough for investing. You could take all the alva stuff, you're not going to get alva as much. However, you can get it in scarabs, which is really cool. As far as I'm aware, there are Berserker. I think I'm sure there are scarabs for every Four Master. I haven't triple checked this. There are not heist scarabs for no fucking, yeah. But since they're saying rogues, markers, contacts, and blueprints can't be found in your map, there might be a chance that we can get maybe contracts and blueprints as raw drops again. Maybe that would be interesting. But we can't get heist scarabs in our maps, probably because there's not much you can do with the design space for heist scarab. It's like, here's the smuggler's cache. Maybe the smuggler's cache spawns something. Maybe the smuggler's cache is purple. I don't know, but it's not got the same kind of design space as, say, Delirium or Expedition or whatever. We still block Expedition every time, by the way, but we'll do that differently. It sucks. The other really big change is we have the seasonal league mechanic on the tree, and obviously that we're guaranteed to encounter that every map, so we're going to be taking that, and it's very convenient they put it right next to the Kirak shit, which is still here. So let's get started. You'll probably wonder, okay, how do I go about this? Before I would be like, let's go up here, let's go up here. No, we've lost this in the middle. It's now faster to go over here. This is 4 points. These nodes are way better now. These all give increased scouting reports. They don't affect the Kirak missions because GGG realized that no one cares about fucking Kirak missions. And you can go one of two ways. I think if you're SSF, you want more scouting reports because that gives you more access to singular scouting reports for unique maps. I think generally otherwise you always take this node anyway. I just don't think you take this otherwise because it's not really good enough. You don't get enough scouting reports to justify this as a big fat notable in the pathway you take. It's like 3 more points at least if you're going this. These things no longer give rarity, they give increased scarabs, which again is very interesting how that works. So you know, if the base chance of getting scarabs is almost nothing, then these nodes are going to be pretty shit. But if the base chance of getting scarabs is reasonable, these nodes might be really worth investing in. And something I haven't mentioned already, but I'm sure you already have in mind, is we have multiple Atlas trees now. We're going to get that in Ruthless. I was really expecting to go to the Ruthless changes and they'd be like, yeah, we're not going to give that to you. That's too much. That's too powerful. And it is really powerful, but we're getting it. No one said no. So what we can do, the really cool thing we can do now is, as long as we can unlock at least a second Atlas passive tree as we're playing the game, it's not like an end game thing. While we're progressing the Atlas, maybe you unlock one when you're getting into yellow maps, or maybe just about poking into reds. Cool, now you can make an Atlas that isn't about map sustain, it's about the mechanic you want to run, and maybe you have scarabs stockpiled for it. We'll talk about that whole strategy in a second, but the opportunities are a lot bigger. You're not just stuck doing one thing, and because respeccing your Atlas is a bit costly in Ruthless, it's like a chance per point, which isn't crazy, but it does add up when you can turn those chances into scours and stuff, and those scours into regrets if you want more regret, you know. It's a lot, it adds up. Really cool. We still have this Kirak mission notable. We go straight up here, we make the little spoon here. This used to be up here. This has dropped way down, and I hate this thing. This is so much more accessible now. You just take this straight away, which is the downside is its fizz damage is cold, so people without freeze immunity or chill immunity are gonna have a rougher time. I mean, I'm planning to play a character that doesn't have cold immunity, like chill immunity. The character I'm working out right now, the leveling of it is looking really, really strong. Like really, really strong, but it doesn't have innate freeze chill immunity, so I might be looking at Arctic armor or something in there, though it does have loads of extra max cold res. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. I take this. These are like small tier higher nodes, which you could take as well, but I don't think they're as valuable to take early in small quantity. I don't think overload circuits is worth anything still. this is the new 7th gate. It does the same thing as the old 7th gate. It's an option. If your build can handle it, it's an option. I did it last league. I hated it, but it was useful. The randomness of suddenly getting like, hey, this map has like reduced regen, and I'm a fucking Fizz.Scion Scion that needs my regen. I was like, oh, I just leave. It sucked. We go straight up here, and this is only like 12 points, so we're still in white maps. Congrats, well done. Anyway, these nodes down here. We take this. We go down one of these paths. We pick one, and we take boom, boom, boom. You might want to go down this one first, actually, because this one's better. Val scattering reports suck now because we don't need corrupted completions except for tier 16 maps, which is a huge buff. Val orbs are going to be much used on items rather than maps now, which is really cool. So we take this. These are all worth it as well. I might as well take this node now. Get those unique maps hopefully rolling in sometime. And when you're taking this, you might be thinking, well, we should take this. But again, it's 3 extra points. It's up to you, but I don't think it's significant enough. But this 10% chance is worth it just for the unique points. Stop highlighting things. And here are your league mechanic based nodes. These are really cool. I have no idea what some of these do. I don't know what Gravekeeper's Boon is. I think I'm planning to not like necessarily take this straight away. But this one's about unresolved anguish, which is the thing that gives you. I'm gonna get familiar with how the league mechanic works more, but like we take most of this stuff. I just don't know what this does, if it's worth taking yet. You go around this way, and it's only 2 points. Let's just take it. It's an honest job. And take this. For this one, you have to watch out. This one gives reduced effect of haunted modifiers, so that's good if you're squishy and struggling, but you get less rewards from the cool modifiers. Aside from ones that give a flat effect, like you're not going to get 20% reduced effect of the nameless seer appearing. The nameless seer is just going to appear, but you'll get reduced effect of like rarity, quantity, things, whatever you're getting provided with. Haunted modifiers allow to allow to higher. Sounds really cool though, so we'll take that. And devoted modifiers increase chance. There are 2 keystones here as well, which are easy accessible. The nice thing is, well, we probably want to take all these points, and then we can just turn these on and off as we want to if we want to piss around with them. It's really easy. It's not like we have to like jump all the way up here for them. I'm very glad they put them down here. So you have the random crafts one, which is sounds really bad actually, but you could high roll. I don't know what the weightings are going to be for the crafts, but maybe you can high roll some cool shit by playing around with that. And this one means you can't basically tinker with the lantern. You can't alter your maps. This is good for like blasting because you just have a 20% chance, 25% chance to get more modifiers. But you can't get the stuff that modifies your stuff, which is tradable as well, which is cool because you can get like monster packs that are like greatly increased experience, and you can trade them to other people who want the experience. Worth thinking about. But yeah, I would start with this. I would take the lead mechanic stuff ASAP and the Kirik stuff ASAP, just because like the faster you get this, the more maps we run, the less maps we run, the more Kirik missions we get. It's just good income. And then after that fact, I would just go here and here and take these shaping wheels. Again, last league I didn't take the shaping wheels. I took 7th gate because I didn't want to take both shaping wheels and 7th gate, and it's again another option, but you have to go over here. And again, these nodes are worse. This used to be mission chance. This is a nerf to 7th gate because these used to be like mission chance nodes. They were very good, so you go to the gateway through here. Now they suck. You also don't take these anymore. This is just increased chance. They kind of suck. Unless you're particularly trying to target one master, maybe you take the chunk of this. So, and the fact that you get scarabs from Jun maybe makes this worthwhile. Maybe you want to spec Jun. It's an option. I'm not exploring it right away because, again, you can't really force Jun as much as you could before. But explore it. Work it out. Anyway, my priority, because this league is all about packs, I think after we take this stuff and we've got our Atlas grind rolling, we go straight up here and we take our pack size wheel. The whole thing. We always take the whole thing. Everyone loves taking the whole thing. Fun fact, Wandering Path is gone. I was going to make an entire video just dedicated to how bad Wandering Path is before making the full guide video. I was just going to make a PSA. I was just going to like do the math. This has always been bad in Ruthless. You can disagree if you want to, if you've run it, if you've enjoyed it, but it's gone now, so we don't even need to have that discussion, which is great because it tilted a lot of people when I had it, because I would be like, no, it's awful, and people would be like, no, it's great. There's also interesting stuff around here as well to look at. And yeah, after that, like after that, you're very up in the air what you want to do. Once you've taken the pack size wheel, but one of the really cool things you might notice is you've got these little scarab little things here. There's only 2 points to get through them, and these nodes are decent because they give you more scarabs. Everyone loves scarabs. 2 things to think about now, like what are we blocking and why, and how are we interacting with scarabs. I would still be blocking most things. I would always leave harvest unblocked because you can roll scarabs. But everything else sucks, mostly. I mean, you might want to, if you really want to get deli orbs, do this. The thing with having multiple atlas trees now, though, is I think for any of these mechanics, for your general tree, you shouldn't have them on it. And you should save up some scarabs, and if you want to do a mechanic, once you've got a bunch of scarabs, you have a tree for that mechanic. That's how this shit works now. And what we have is, like, we always have, like, our first tree is going to be a general, we're sustaining maps and we're getting scarabs kind of tree. Like a generalist kind of like, this is just my blasting maps for progress kind of tree. Which you can then evolve into like a getting the boss maps and stuff. Because that's, you know, this is extra chance to drop tier 14 plus maps. So this is how you sustain tier 14 plus maps very easily. Once you have watchstones, you just invest in all this shit. The synth maps don't count necessarily, but they're still worth getting because Cortex is almost impossible to get otherwise now because it only drops some synth maps. Hooray! Yeah, I drop everything but harvest. I don't enjoy doing harvest personally, and this is another bum note about the Ruthless Atlas passive trait. People are like, oh, I don't want to do mechanics I don't enjoy. Deal with it because it's very good. See, I don't enjoy playing Cold River map, but I have to now do Cold River map. I'm not just going to ignore all the Cold River maps that drop, I'm just going to run them. And see, now we're already on 75 points, so like, once we've got all this, this is a good way into like yellow maps now when we're blocking stuff. I wouldn't block things right away through like, when we're in white maps, but like, you know, when we're getting to yellow maps, we want to really cement like what our strategy is. Yellow into red is the hardest push. White into yellow is a bit of a harder push. The interesting thing about that as well is like no more master missions, no more color-coded master missions. We can just, if you get an alva scarab in a white map, it's a red alva mission if you're willing to wait that long. That's really important. But going back to scarabs while my scattered brain tries to work out where I'm going with this shit, there's some really interesting stuff here. One of them is cartography scarabs. This is more maps. A rusted cartography scarab is 20% more maps, or increased maps, I guess. It's basically 20 of these nodes. Do you remember everyone who said, "Oh, I need to play Wandering Path because I need to get like all these. I need to go up here and down here to get all these little nodes"? Well, a single cartography scarab is doing that for a map for you. So you whack them on your juiciest maps, and then you hopefully get more maps. Reliquary scarabs are not probably worth it, but they are interesting. If you're trying to get more uniques, this is interesting for SSF. And good chances most of the time you drop a reliquary scarab in a map, it's not going to do anything. But we haven't seen the special reliquary scarabs yet. Maybe I'm making this video too soon to have full conclusions, but general idea is like, the nice thing is this is 1 point, so you can put it and then not put it. Anarchy scarabs sound useless though, but you go over here as well and you get harbinger scarabs. You get harbinger scarabs, because that's more map stuff as well. We get more harbinger orbs this way. Because it's very harder to access delve as well now, because you don't have Nico missions. And this might be slightly offset by the fact we can get multiple masters per map, so Jun can spawn and then Nico can spawn, so we'll be seeing a bit more of them as natural masters maybe, but not being able to just pump the highest tier map you can into Nico missions to get that sulfide or to save them up until you have, save his missions up until you have the relevant notables that give you more sulfide and stuff. That's a bit, so I'm not going to take any of this stuff. Usually I would take these three at least for the missions and stuff, and we're not going to take that. Harbingers, however, are interesting because we can get like a flat. We can get 8% chance to get more harbingers in our maps, and we can even go up here to get a bit more % chance to get harbingers. And these can stack as well because we can run a harbinger scarab and we can still get an additional scarab. It's an interesting thing about bonus content like this because it adds upon itself. Why is it highlighting that? I don't know. And this is over here as well. And I think like we want to push into red maps. Going into harbinger sounds like a really strong idea. Because because you can just get like your orb horizons and your harbinger orbs are going to help you like re-roll those maps really easily. And this is the kind of stuff like once we have all our maps sustained, maybe we drop this later. This is all the stuff we unspec out of, and there's a chunk of points we can put somewhere else. But like I like this. We're going into reds, 93 points. Sulfite Infusion is another. This node, the notable is just as strong. However, these are not mission chance nodes, so they kind of suck. So it's like 4 points for this rather than just like 1 point because you want the mission chance anyway. Which again, it's a change. There's a couple of other things up here that are really interesting as well. You have increased effective modifiers on your map. Chisel Perfection is really interesting. However, modifiers in Ruthless are kind of shit because they don't give pack size. You get item quantity and map drops from them, but you also make your maps way rippier. And this is only if you're like running red maps back, yellow rare maps back to back. So I don't think this is worth taking. I think back to basics. I think this is going to be the new wandering path. For people like, wow, this sounds cool. I think this sucks. Because if we cannot, we can get. The interesting thing with this is you can apply scarabs to your maps. This isn't like the. It doesn't say scarabs can't. You can't apply influence to your maps. But entry content cannot appear. And sometimes it's just going to roll like 0% modify effect as well. It's random, and 80% more modify effect is a lot. But then like also it's like super rippy. I think this is terrifying and I don't like it. Maybe someone can put out a different video, being like later in the league, being like, "Here's how I," and this is the one where like you don't get. This is the new wandering path. This sucks. Also, the Ruthless version of this says Divine Vessels. But they have not reintroduced Pantheon. I don't know if that's a mistake or if we're secretly getting Pantheon again. That would be crazy. I think this also sucks. This gives 10 passive points, but we lose Scarabs. And we don't lose Scarabs. Scarabs are too powerful. Like a single, again, as I said, like a Jun Scarab, just a rusted Jun Scarab, whatever it's going to be, a rusted Betrayal Scarab. That's a red Jun mission. That can drop in a white map. New strategy. Like, pay attention to this stuff. Jesus, also if you're going over here, we can take this rarity of stuff, but like, I don't think it's that worth it. People can disagree. Also, when we're up here, we can start taking this hat, and as we start pushing into higher tier maps, we want to start getting these. If we're sustaining tier 14 maps, we start taking these and these and these and stuff. But like, you know, you go into the hat. I think Harbinger nodes are more useful than these just general chance to get node stuff, because Harbinger nodes can give you the Harbinger orbs that gives you very much more direct control over the maps that you get. And you can get those special Harbinger maps even, which if you're trying to get more higher tier maps, they're kind of a grief. If you roll a beachhead, you're like, oh, that doesn't give me a bonus point, but you can get some cool stuff from them. They're good for experience, so that still is something. This is basically the standard shell. What I'm looking at, I'm gonna do harbingers. We're gonna unblock harvest, and another thing we can take harvest stuff because we're around it as well. This is very convenient for this stuff as well. Get like tier 3. Don't go that way. Get like the tier 3 plant stuff as well. And you see already we're starting to push points, but I don't care about the experience from it. We can get like the life force duplicated, and it is worth noting because you see all the Harbinger note stuff is right next to all the harvest stuff. They're like literally next to each other, and this is the new strategy because what we want to do is get loads of it's purple juice that lets us reroll scarabs, and this is what my strategy kind of involves here, because I don't think I'm going to be using scarabs much until I'm getting into red maps. And then once I'm in red, I'm gonna, maybe you want to use the occasional scarab to like push if you're getting stuck a bit. You can use them that way. But hopefully by going into harbingers later on and stuff, we can really make that push. Get our 2 void stones at the start, and then we're gonna have a real jump with the void stones. So we can start taking off like the harbinger stuff. And once we've taken off the harbinger stuff, we can start investing this into like the boss maps. Like let's say I take off. Once you take off the harbinger stuff, you know that the harvest stuff is a bit more. This is a bit more out of the way. It's still worth it because it's like just 10% more life force, which is pretty good. Maybe you can drop this one as well. It's a bit more out of the way now if we're not taking that node. maybe you don't need cartography scarabs either, and then you can start taking, if we can sustain tier 14 maps. It all depends on how map sustain feels in general, because we don't have the wildwood wisps anymore, and they did interfere with map sustain quite a bit. We had a lot more map sustain affected by quant for some reason. This was tested. We can just take all this stuff as well. That's a chunk of points, but this is going to give us more tier 14 maps. Huge thing as well, huge change. We don't need to drop invites for these special things, special invites, so you can just do all 4 conquerors when you're at the end game, and then Kirak will just be like, now fight them all at once. And that's why we also take destructive play. When we could sustain, when we're in that zone, we take destructive play. And we don't do this, we don't do this, unless you're farming it, unless you really need some Eldritch modifiers on your gear, then maybe you spec into this for a bit, but Maven is the play. Maven is always going to be the play, because this got buffed as well. This got buffed. This was like the best notable for tier 14 plus mapping in Ruthless. This got buffed, because you get more additional bosses if you clear more of the map. That's crazy, because all of those additional bosses can drop these maps. And also, when you do the invites, they can also drop these. And that's how you start to say. You just start chaining these special maps. You get lots of them. So that's kind of like an end game strategy, and we keep harvest. And now let's say like I want to be interesting, and like once I have my 2 void stones, like we're gonna have extra Atlas passive trees. So we'll make a different passive tree that's just for like, you know, I want to do. Pick something, motherfucker. Let's say we really want to do breach, because breach got a quality of life update. So how much you drop, how much your sustain. It's like you could block harvest when you're doing this as well. You can switch your whole tree. We take off the harvest stuff. We still want pack size. We still want Kirak, I would say, and rarity of maps. Maybe we keep these. We always keep this stuff. I think you always keep this stuff until, like, if you've got all your completions, you start dropping the Kirak, maybe, but let's find where all our breach stuff is again. Like, it's all over here, so we can start taking this stuff. These nodes are cool because that's like 5% increased magic monsters, so we can start taking that. We take the big fat node. I think we go around this way. We take our breach chant, so we get it instead of masters. The thing about breaches as well is, I think if you use a breach scarab that gives you a breach, you should be able to roll an additional breach. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you should be able to roll extra breaches on top of your breaches. You were able to get multiple breaches before. I don't see why not. But unless if you use a breach scarab, if it stops breach from naturally spawning, that would be different. In that case, if we're stockpiling scarabs for breach, you don't take these chance stuff and you just force it with scarabs for a bit. We take the boss stuff. We take, I don't know, like maybe we want to see Chula because we're, you know, whatever. And we can do the we can go. We can make them open and close a bit slower because, well, our build is bad. I don't know. Like, the whole theory here is like, you don't do this on your main tree. You do this on your secondary trees. And just be smart about what you drop on your main tree, because like your main tree probably in the end game should involve all this boss stuff, unless you have a different strategy. If you're like an MF build, you're going to be doing things differently. But this is like one of the best strategies for tier 14 map sustain. So if that's your goal, then that's what you want to do. We still ignore all the shrine stuff. We still ignore like a load of random shit. And again, like let's say we want to do alva, because alva's still valuable. The shit you get from alva is really cool. You'll want to access that as much as possible still, but that as much as possible number has gone down while you're progressing your atlas. But again, like for a second tree, we take our alva stuff maybe. It's all over here. There's an additional thing. There's a thing all the way over here. Cursed treasures. I'm going to ignore this because it's all the way out of the way. However, alva is very close to beyond, so you could. Let's just take this and this. That. So, like, if we're having a really comfy time, let's say we drop We drop our extra Kirak stuff because we've already got most of our Kirak shit. We don't care enough about Kirak anymore. Another thing you can do, when you're focusing alva, is now you can drop all 10, and you can still get the other masters to spawn. So blocking all 10 things is also viable. Now it's like just a 25% chance to get a natural alva spawn when we're spawning content, and we can get second and third master spawns on top of that, which is really cool. So this could be a strategy. You'd block all 10. You start taking this shit. We have an increased chance to contain alva as well. How much increased chance do we have to contain alva just from this? 4 of these nodes. Maybe we just take this as well. So that's like... This will mean half our map should contain alva, basically. Which isn't bad. This is a viable... You know, this is now a viable strategy. And maybe on top of that, we take this stuff and then we go beyond, you know? Scent of Blood. On top of that as well, because everyone loves fucking beyond. You don't get 6 links in Ruthless unless you're happy to go with a bit of beyond, unless you get really fucking lucky. We're now spending a lot more points though. But you can see again the general gist of it. Let's go down here. We can say gain of diamond. What is that? That sounds really cool. We're gonna have to do that. Sounds really fun. It sounds not very useful, but like the small things are yeah, look at that. This is like an 120 point tree. Oh, we don't go up here then. We don't care about this really, as far as I'm aware. 117 point tree. So this, as an example, we block everything. This looks quite nice to me. We want to push alva and beyond. I'm pretty sure when you're doing beyond that, I can't actually remember it. I'm not going to talk out of my arse on this. I think you can spawn beyond monsters from the alva monsters in incursions, but you can't spawn the boss in there because that wouldn't make any sense. But you could technically get tainted. I swear I've got tainted currency from an incursion before. I could be gassing here, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's really interesting. But again, the great thing is we can set up this tree for beyond/alva blasting. And maybe you could also do this in lower tier maps. Another strategy you can have for your outlets is like, well, we take off, yeah, maybe when we're just burning through bonus maps, right? We're going to have an excess amount of maps. Maybe we're not going to trade them up. Instead, we're just going to run them, and we're going to run some, you know, let's say I really want to double corrupt. Okay, well, like, you know, the chance of getting a good double corrupt in a double corrupt temple doesn't increase doing a red map, so just burn through your lower maps, and then we just kill. We can't maybe get beyond bosses as much in the lower tier maps. I can't remember if they have a, I think they have a minimum spawn tier or something, but like maybe it's like tier 11, tier 12 maps, when we don't care about this stuff. It's good to have maybe a tree where it's like, okay, I can't run tier 14 maps right now, I've run out for some reason, so I just do some other stuff, or just I'm just making use of my other maps, stuff like that. And there's still like some points spare here, you know, it's not like we're tight. Fuck, we can take essences on this shit. We can take everything in this wheel is really accessible to take as a bonus, except expedition, because no one's going to take expedition because expedition is shit. But tormented spirits, for instance, you know, it's the theme of the league. This would be probably really bad, but you can take it if you want to. I just want to emphasize that, because like a lot of people are going to be approaching the Atlas still thinking like, oh, I have to do map sustain kind of thing, but like having these second trees is going to make a massive difference to that, because once you unlock this second tree, you can just specialize this as a non-map sustain tree, or you can put a bit of map sustain into it if you're wanting, if you're wanting to grind your current highest tier of maps in a different way. You probably still want a bit of map sustain to keep that tier or push beyond it a bit. But if you're happy to just drop a few tiers just to like churn through the mechanic that you want to do, and not necessarily do it in the highest tier map, you can just drop all your map sustain stuff mostly. Aside from that, you always keep the league mechanic stuff because it's really really good. Jun is another option. Let's just take all this shit off just to exemplify. Let's say Jun's on the other side of the world, so we're not doing Jun alongside Beyond. Where is the fucking there? This. There's a gate right here, so we can do something with the gate, like, but we're not going to. let's just take all our Jun stuff. Let's do the classic strategy where we just go, this is kind of out of the way now. We kind of need another excuse to be around here. But Jun's right next to Breach, which is interesting. We can still block everything and just do... So obtain an additional quick armor, clearing your... Ooh! 10% more rarity items. Wow. So Jun for like uniques as well was kind of interesting because you're going to get more rarity of items. That's interesting. That's really important. This is another thing where, like, I think in your tree where you're taking all this stuff, you know what, Pat, by the way, this planner, what does this say? This planner needs a thing I can quickly switch between different trees. I can't see a function for that aside from like importing and exporting them constantly and alt tabbing out of this setup. I would really like to just go back to my old tree just so I can stop pointing at this while it's empty. But like, yeah, when we're taking this stuff, you want to take this stuff as well because it's just a good fucking node. This stuff only does stuff if we're doing Jun in the first place, right? But that's all our Jun stuff, and we still have a bunch of points, right? Again, we always keep this. I think we always keep this. It's just saved us on AUX and gives us more map drops overall, like implicitly later on because we're running rarer maps that drop naturally rarer. So we can just run at something else on top of this. A good idea for this maybe is like, because Jun is also for scarabs, it's harder to force. I think harvest is more high value to re-roll your scarabs, like the shit ones that you drop. Like if you don't care about anarchy scarabs, then what you drop those. Or torment scarabs probably suck. Essence scarabs though, woo-wee! We can force essences now. Huge. So we're already playing a crafting league. Beyond scarabs are really cool. We probably just take that anyway. Didn't mention that earlier, but that's really fucking cool. If you're you might want to keep this unlocked, and then we just still take our like our shit around here for this, and then we can take the harvest stuff. We can take. I've never done crop rotation. I don't know if it works in Ruthless, but it's over here if you want to work that out, or if you know that it works or not. Also, I haven't mentioned that there's two more clusters up here. Eternal Torment does nothing apparently. I don't know what happened to the data mine, but I'm not looking at this. But this is interesting as well. You can get like the unique crafting outcome one, for instance. If you're taking it, this kind of incentivizes you to take the whole hat. You can take this whole hat when you're doing anything, maybe. Maybe this is a staple as well, because we might want to just always take this stuff as well. Which gives us less flexibility. But like, I think this kind of looks like some kind of like weird alien guy. I think you've got like the arms and like the top of his head there. I don't know, like, this is your basis, I think. But let's say we'll take that off. Let's say we're not taking this anymore. I'm not taking this and this. If there is one thing, because my ADHD is kind of like working overdrive right now, and I can't remember exactly what points I've even made in this whole video. Also, what the fuck does this... I want to know. Why isn't this being fixed yet? Maybe we take this, maybe we don't. But for a good shell, for any tree, you might want to just keep taking this, because you always get this mechanic. And then you pick something you don't want to, you want to change, and this gives you so much access because you just go up and down or wherever. Like, you have the whole tree at your disposal here. You're not just all on one side. Maybe we keep these as well. But see, if we're keeping these, we only have like a few. We don't have many points left. But at least we can block all of these, and then take that off. Actually, there we go. Now we have a few more points. Block all of these. Let's say I want to do Einhar because we don't know how bad Einhar is, but we want to do Einhar, so we'll just do Einhar. So we just take the Einhar stuff, and then still, we can afford it. Maybe we're hunting. Where there's less common varieties, and we'll take the wilds. That's yeah, the hunt for Farrell. Maybe we want a Farrell's fur. All we want, and we don't want a replica Farrell's fur because we want to be cool and get a real Farrell fur. Hunter's Cunning grants less damage taken from beasts, increase damage against beasts, increase quantity of rarity items found from slain beasts. That's interesting. You know, maybe there's an MF farming strat now where we go Einhar and we do beasts. Yellow beasts are a big game, and look at that. We can block everything, every other mechanic. Again, I don't know if you want to block harvest, but You can also just find this also stops you from getting harvest scarabs. I don't know if you ever block harvest. This is the thing, but if you block harvest, you're much more likely to get. You might as well block harvest if you're taking the increased chance nodes like this shit, because you're rarely going to see it anyway, and this just stops scarabs from dropping for it. But maybe you want the scarabs, because then you can churn all the scarabs back when you're back to your old tree where you have all the harvest stuff. Scarabs, they completely fuck with this, right? And you'll notice on this whole setup, I'm not investing in any of these like big keystones really for things, because I just don't think they're not very good. Meticulous Appraisal was tested. It's bad. You never want to go up on Quant. Unwavering Vision is clearly bad because it only gives 10 fucking points. You don't get scared. This is bad. This could give 20 points and I would still argue against it. This is really interesting though. But it's going to be really fucking awful unless you're like, Penance Brand of Dissipation is getting the old classic GG triple tap, the GGG triple tap. It's getting nerfed to the ground. There will be a massive OP bossing skill though, and for a bossing atlas, like, let's just fucking take the Ironheart stuff off. I hate doing this every time. Give me an alternative tree to swap back to. Jesus Christ. Let's get all our points back again, and let's just get back into our destructive play atlas. You're doing destructive play, you always take all this shit. Do these things? Oh, this. Ooh. Shaper or Elder influence pack size. I think Elder's better because the Elder maps are just regular maps anyway. I don't even know. I don't even know what's better. It's so weird about having the keystones, but I love not having the keystones. We take all this stuff. We take destructive play. Maybe you take this. The big thing about this though is if you have this, it's going to affect conquerors. It's going to affect. You can get your. And that's, I don't know if that's worth it. I think this is worth noting. When we were doing Affliction League, I don't think you got more influence items necessarily by them being. I killed a fucking double empowered El Hez, and I got fuck all for it. So I don't know if it's worth the insane difficulty you might give yourself, but if you're hitting dot cap and you shouldn't be, there's like a bugged Rain of Arrows build that someone's posting around that looks insane, and if you get a Sunblast and they don't fix the interaction, it's going to be insane. Maybe that's a strategy, but unless you have insane giga DPS and you hate your sanity, I don't know if it's worth it. But without this strategy, for regular map bosses, could be interesting as well. The fun thing is it doubles with destructive play, right? Because final map bosses, as I said, so it's going to affect all of them, and all of this stuff applies to extra summons from destructive play. So these synergize. Interesting to note. I should probably wrap this up now. I don't know if there's anything else really to touch on. I'm not going to do a 7th gate setup here because I don't think it's worth it this time. But it's an option for map sustain. You just have to be running a build that can be comfortable in it, or you have to be personally psychologically comfortable with looking at your map boards every map and being like, oh look, it's reflect, and then you leave. And that can really fuck with your maps, especially the thing that really fucks with 7th gate. It's called bold undertakings now. Fucking hell. The thing that fucks with bold undertakings. We're gonna call it 7th gate anyway, aren't we? It's like I don't know why they just didn't rename the fucker for Ruthless. The thing that makes the thing that fucks with it as well is scarabs, because if I put scarabs in my map. If I put them in my map device, you can run multiple scarabs as well. So I can get I can put a cartography scarab, and I can be putting like a harvest scarab, and I'm running this, and it rolls a mod I can't do at all. Fuck me, right? Which means that maybe this synergizes with this. So maybe there is a strategy where we're just not. Maybe there is where we do take all these. This looks shit though. If we not, I don't know. It's you get 10 bonus passive points. Hooray! Like look, the number goes up. But we're missing out on scarabs. The amount of control we're getting from scarabs And the amount of insane randomness, like this plus this is really funny because like you're getting random modifiers and they could be 80% more effect, which makes it a lot more likely that you just roll maps that are impossible to run. But if you're the good thing about this maybe is if you're complaining that your maps, oh, I'm stuck in white maps and they're too easy. Cool, take bold. We have to take the gates. We have to take the gates for this. Like bleh, bleh, bleh. If you my white maps are let's take all this shit off. Hang on, we'll go up here instead. We don't take all this stuff. How many points would we have for this? I'll finish my rant in a second. We'll just take this for now. The cool thing about this is right next to the gates as well, so there we go. It's a point. It's pointing you to maybe that's the strategy. Let's take the Jun stuff as well because it's better than Einhar. Let's make this look how it would look, okay? It's still a lot of points, right? If we want to take the lead mechanic stuff, and we always want to take the lead mechanic stuff, boom, new opportunity cost as well. And we have to take Unwavering Vision up. Okay, but this gives us 10. Okay, so we've rushed this. We're still on 100 points if we want to have this set up for like pushing through red maps or something. You can't really rush this combination as much. I don't know what else I could fucking take off really. Maybe I'm just not. Oh yeah, bonus content can't appear. We don't block mechanics then. We can't get bonus content. 88 points. Cool. If you're one of those guys who's like, this is yellow maps, right? You can't push into reds. I want to be in red maps, but I'm still in yellow maps, and red maps won't drop. Cool. Turn your yellow maps into like red maps made by Satan, like because this will do that. Random modifiers, extra modifier effect, and we just ignore scarabs entirely and just blast it. And when we look at when it says like extra content now, like all of the mission, this stops masters as well. So these are like 3 wasted points. That's bad. Maybe yeah, there's no way to do it. Jesus. But this combination is like okay. So we've made the tree. This is an idea. I think it's a really bad idea, but it's an idea. And someone can correct me if they think it's a viable strategy and give me reasons, because I'm not going to like hyper-analyze it now. But I think it's just. I think one of the worst things you can do, if GGG are like, here's a big new thing for Ruthless, and that's Scarabs right now. Scarabs in the core, their global drops. Holy shit. The worst thing you can do is disable it, I think. Because there must be some reason why they're like adding it in there. I don't think the upside is good enough. Like 10 passive points for disabling Scarabs. It kind of combos with like the not having bonus content, but like this is like the Shmi method where like, you know, you can force your I feel so bad for saying that, but like force your maps to have no bonus content and then complain that the game has no bonus content, you know, like I'm being mean. Anyway, I don't know how to fix this now. This tree is like hideous to me now. Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna turn this back until I would just fucking like just mess up the tree entirely. It's just, you know, who knows? Someone will take someone. Okay, let's make like the worst tree possible right now, so someone can take a screenshot of this later on and be like, I can't believe he recommended this. And we're just gonna like make it look stupid. So you know, like when you're done playing around with your Atlas tree, like, you know, you have a lot of options at the end of the day, and you just want to make sure like you this looks so bad. I can't stare this time. I should just take the whole thing off. No. You just have to bear in mind you can stockpile scarabs and you have multiple Atlas trees. So when you are pushing your Atlas and focusing on map sustain, keep your scarabs, and then when you get to like, either if you're getting really stuck or you've gotten to those tier 14 maps, map level, as a lot of people do each league, and you got your 2 watchstones, void stones, it'll be easier to get to Maven as well, and Uber Elder, because it's easier to get the maps, because it's easier to do the Maven invitations because you don't have to get them to drop or buy them off someone if you're playing Ruthless Trade. But once you've got to that stage where you've got like your multiple Atlas trees and you can swap between them, just remember you can just have you can abandon map sustain for a bit if you just want to focus on your mechanics. It's an opportunity cost. You want to balance it out. Maybe you want to do a bit. Maybe just, you know, maybe you're trying to keep most of your map sustain but just tweak it a bit. Maybe you keep this whole hat here. There's a lot of ways to go about it. the other thing that's going to really, I assume when we get the new trees, like the second and third trees, they start blank and we can just fully spec them out. If they somehow copy your existing tree or something, that's going to be rough, but I doubt that's going to happen. But you know, I catastrophize everything, so there's a chance I might feel like, oh, what are they going to do? Anyway, yeah, I would recommend focus on scarabs for your first tree. Get something like cartography scarabs. Block everything but harvest if you want to have the easiest time interacting with scarabs, and you could also just take some Jun on top of that. Jun is really high value, probably higher than Alva this league, because you can't use your Alva missions as easily. Because that's the thing, like, you know, either you're ignoring Alva spawns if they're in a lower tier map, or you're going to end up with lower tier temples, which means your lower tier map drops. I mean, it's Alva's map sustain has been like nerfed again indirectly. You have to like see between the lines to understand that, but it's definitely worse. And yeah, you can even, if you save up a bunch of essence scarabs, you're gonna have to decide when you're re-rolling scarabs what you're happy to stick with, because I'm gonna always re-roll torment and anarchy and shit like that, right? Maybe there's really good ones I'll keep, but like even if they're really good ones, I can re-roll the really good ones into another really good one from a different mechanic. But like, you could stockpile a bunch of essence, and then you can make a tree that enables you to get better essences. And this is like a crafting league, so like, it's not like essence is going to interact with grave crafting very much, but it's worth pursuing if you get loads of these. Or you can just say fuck essences and just re-roll them into something else until you get like more like, I don't know, sulfite scarabs, and go delve. The entire discussion we've had here is going to depend on one thing more than anything else, and that is how many scarabs do we get? Because a lot of these small nodes, you know, 3% increase of what is the question, because as a lot of people like to say, you know, 3% increase of 0 is still 0. But the really interesting thing here is, like, you know, we have 1% maps found nodes, we have 3% increased scarabs found nodes. So like, if we get scarabs like even half or as third as often as we see maps drop, that's still pretty good, because again, they're master missions if you get the master ones, and if you can block other scarabs from, well, you know, I don't get ultimatum scarabs anymore, you can limit the pool. And obviously that's like, you'll have, if you block out all of this, you'll have 4 masters plus all of these, and if you're taking this, you'll have less masters as well, and you're taking, you know, but it's still a huge bonus if you drop just a rusted, just a basic betrayal scarab is a big hit. And more than anything else, I'm excited for the dopamine. I played Ruthless for the dopamine because I don't enjoy the regular game anymore. Nothing that drops matters enough to me. I don't care about dropping, oh my god, 5,000 scarabs dropped on my screen at once, and now I have to click and pick them all up. I hate this. No. I want to drop one thing. Oh my god, a polished sulfite scarab. That's fucking insane. That is so good. The amount of dopamine, the sources of dopamine we have per map have just gone up dramatically. Having a scarab drop is like in the middle of your map. The map's just saying like, "Hey, next map, you can get a thing," or like, you know, you can save it up and you can run it, whatever. But like, it's exciting. I'm really excited about this. I also have a massive cold, so I don't know how excited I'm capable of sounding. But like, I think anyone who has experience in Ruthless coming into the next league shouldn't be doomsaying, being like, oh, you know, map sustain. This is crazy exciting, the way we're going to interact with this. And there's a chance it's going to be bad, and they drop the ball and they give us barely anything in terms of scarabs, so it's still going to feel like a massive slog. I don't expect to be showered in them, but every single time we get one, it's going to be like, wow. Unless it's a torment scarab, and then I'm going to be like, re-roll that shit. But that's why this is just a slot machine now, because I play trade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy clear oils and also re-roll them to get better oils, right? You can gamble like that. This is Harvest is like the casino. This is like, you block this, this is like gam stop. It's like, I don't want to gamble anymore, because you don't have div card gambles here, but you can gamble your scarabs, you can gamble your oils and all sorts of other shit as well. So, and I usually block harvest every league, so I'm looking forward to actually like doing it a bit. A cool thing as well is one of the build I really want to do, and it might be my league ender, but I might make another build as well. But like one of the upgrades I could find is like one of the more common uniques that Oshabi can drop, which is exciting. It's like Bear's Girdle Belt, because I'm stacking that rage. So I think this is like one of the high. This is upgraded to Master Mission tier. I mean, loads of people put it on S tier already because of the capabilities it gives, and you're always going to want it in SSF. But I think even in trade now, I don't think you can block it at all for any strategy. This isn't the kind of league where, like, last league I did ritual blasting with the juice and stuff because it synergizes so well. This is probably not a ritual league. You can get omens in ritual, very cool. So maybe there is a whole thing there. You get some ritual scarabs, you want to play some ritual for a bit, and then you get an omen of connections, and then everyone claps. Who knows? There's so many possibilities. This is what excites me. How you interact with your Atlas is partly going to depend on what scarabs you get. By the time you're hitting tier 14 maps, look at your scarab stockpile, and you might be like, I've been able to accrue like a dozen or so essence scarabs, and you can justify making an essence tree and do some hard essence farming for a bit. Who knows? Anyway, this video's probably gone on way too long, like every single other video I make. But I hope this has illuminated some things. I'm not trying to tell you exactly what you should be doing here, aside from like, yes, this is obvious. You know, let's go over this again. This is obvious. Pack size is obvious because of the way the lead mechanic works. Investing in the lead mechanic itself is... I'm just not doing this optimally. What the fuck? Taking lead mechanic stuff seems obvious to me because we get it every map. All the other mechanic stuff is like, well, this, you know, if your mechanic appears, this might have an effect, but like this is like guaranteed. So yes, and Carrick stuff is obvious. This is like my obvious starter thing. And maybe if we just care about the mechanic more than anything, we can use the gateway here. We can just do this. I don't know what this does though. But this seems kind of obvious to me. We could hat it up, and then we don't have to take the gateway as well. Just get the hat. Yeah. A lot of this seems kind of obvious. There's a lot of extra little things you can invest in. That's not what I meant to click. Going to harbingers is one option. There's other options for pushing through reds than harbingers, but I think harbingers are going to be a really good bet with like harbinger scarabs being a thing. There's a huge scarab drop pool, so you're going to have to, like, you know, just because it says 100% more, that's like, the more of these you take, the less of an impact they have on each other, right? So I would only take a couple at most. Otherwise, it's just like diminishing returns on your notables, the value of your Atlas points. But this to me seems like, and this is funny because like this looks like the most generic vanilla, like kind of like, oh yeah, just take all like the small stuff again. But like, scarabs are gonna be what really dictate how you transform this afterwards. You don't just walk into this league being like, I'm going to do delirium. Because I think if you get loads of delirium scarabs, then you might be, well, I want to do delirium. And maybe you want to do delirium at some point anyway, but if you want to do delirium, you want to get those delirium scarabs first. You want to re-roll your scarabs into delirium scarabs and stockpile them, and then you get to tier 14 plus map farming, you stockpile enough maps, and then you do a big surge of map farming. Or you can do it in lower tier maps as well. That's a thing. Where you just like run them for me. You could open and close white maps until you find mirrors and stuff and just grind like that. But this is my basic setup. Disagree with it how you will, but I'm not even saying like, oh, you need to do this. I mean, this is also like suboptimal now because we can just take this instead, but like depends how fast you want to get up to this. Like I like the idea of the unique crafting. I like this, but like, there's some other things here as well. Yeah, I mean, go nuts with it. An Atlas update like this we're not going to get that often, and I would recommend just like going ham on your own ideas and setups and really thinking about how you're going to explore this. Don't take anything I say as gospel, because I don't have no one's played the new league yet, and again, we might all find that scarabs suck. It's a trap. Fortunately, a lot of the scarab stuff is around here. There's some other things as well I didn't mention. I've completely skipped over this, for instance. Remarkable relics and Chittering Companions, which is a 10% chance to drop a scarab per map you run. I think if we're doing any of this, we'll probably take this as well. completely missed that. Anyone who knew about this, who watched the entire video, and I haven't mentioned it, I do apologize. It's worth highlighting this actually to say, yeah, that you got amplified artifacts. Yeah, I think these two node wheels are really fucking good as well. So maybe this is like what we get into as well. But at this point, we're getting most of our red map completion at this point anyway. And there's skittering spawns down here for 12% increased scarabs. So maybe this is your more like, I'm pushing through red maps, but at some point you're going to have so many points that like you're no longer Atlas pushing. Oh, I haven't taken these as well. Yeah, so there's loads of options, and then that introduces the opportunity cost of this. Like maybe we don't want this, and maybe we want to get this and this and that. You know, oh, it's very fun. This is like just clicking things on this and being like, ooh, now I get more of this. It's just fun. I love things like this. This is like a stress toy for me. You go nuts with it, but like I strongly recommend you don't. If there's one takeaway I'd say from this whole spiel I've had on this video, it's like, don't ignore scarabs. Don't take the stuff that ignores scarabs. This has to be something we have to look into, because the amount of power we get from the ability to re-roll them. I need to block. Yeah, like reset this. How many points do I get to here? Jesus. This is when it gets I've spent all my fucking points on scarabs. Someone who is good with economy, help me. My family is dying. I've spent all my money on scarabs. Right, yeah, I'm getting hungry, so I should stop trying to record video when I'm hungry. There's play around with it, but like explore scarabs. I think scarabs is like the really big thing for this league. The ability to stockpile up a load of things which you can then burn on a different tree, specialized for burning through your scarabs. That's an exciting play. We're going to look into how we can do that. Make best use of that. Yeah. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you have like other ideas and strategies, things I've missed, big things on this tree I haven't looked at, because there's so many things on this tree, and I'm like a kid in a candy store, just like not really like having any clue what I'm doing sometimes. This isn't really worth it. One last thing, Lucid Dreams is nerfed. Lucid Dreams is pretty fucking... It's interesting now, because you could just take this as by default. If you want to do Atsiri, you take this by default, because it's only taking away 50% of your adjacent map drops from the final map bosses. Which is, you know? Yeah, so if you don't know, like a boss has a set chance, I can't remember exactly what it is, but they have a set chance to drop an adjacent map. This means half of them will become Val items. It used to be all of them. So it was very binary. It's like, you know, map sustain on, map sustain off, map sustain on, you know, now it's 50-50, and maybe you can justify just having it permanently, regardless. But that's up to you. Because it's like it's a pretty good 3 points. Anyway, I'm gonna get off. Thank you if you've watched this far, or if you have had a fun time having this in the background or whatever. Yeah, I am working on a guide for my starter, and hopefully I can get it finished and a little rundown of it recorded and released before the league starts. But I have a lot of work to do at the moment, unfortunately, with real life responsibilities and earning money and whatnot. So, you know, hopefully I can get it out. Anyway, before I keep rambling about anything else or suddenly notice something else I've missed, I'm going to call that. Have fun with it, you know? And scarabs, holy shit. Anyway, bye.